for ripping off the Super Saiyan thing from Dragon Ball Z. And can you blame him? I mean, DBZ has 7 Dragon Balls, Sonic has 7 Chaos Emeralds. Dragon Balls can give you superpowers, and so do the Chaos Emeralds. And of course, there's the ever-important superpower of having golden hair. So yeah, it definitely looks like Sonic copied Dragon Ball. Until, you know, you look it up and you find out that Super Saiyan form premiered in the manga issue that came out in August 1991, and Sonic was originally released in June of 1991, several months earlier. Remind me again who's ripping off who here? Yeah, it's still Sonic. The Supersonic form didn't debut until Sonic 2 in 1992, but I totally had you going for a second there, right? Welcome to Game Theory, calling Sonic Team liars since 2012. And today, unfortunately, will be no exception. Hey, it's not like I want to hate on these furry-tastic games. In fact, my fondest childhood memories are of playing Sonic 2 in the basement with my buddy Max and his younger brother. I was Sonic and Max was Tails. We would get together every weekend to make it a little further in the game. I would inevitably rage quit and his brother would be forced to sing Christina Aguilera's Genie in a Bottle to make me laugh and get me to keep playing the game. Now that I actually say it out loud, it was a weird relationship. Anyway, Sonic Mania is great. A game reminding me of my love for Sonic and my frustration with thieves, the Chaos Emeralds. Because my other childhood hobby, outside of getting a young boy to sing Christina Aguilera songs to me in a basement, was gemology. I was fascinated by shiny rocks, precious gemstones, and most of all, crystals. In fact, I still have my collection to this day. It's also the reason why one of my favorite channels these days is JTV, hosted by my friend Natalie. It's a channel nerding out over all things gemstone, like what stones would power a lightsaber, and what is Game of Thrones dragonglass in real life. But the thing is, as a rock nerd, it always irked me that the Sonic games called these gemstones emeralds, because I just don't think that they are. It is my firm belief that the Chaos Emeralds aren't actually emeralds. I just never had the time to actually research it before. Until today, because my job now is literally over-researching all the little details in video games that bothered me when I was growing up. So get ready, loyal theorists. This episode is a genie in a bottle. Coming at you now. Far from being a collectible that you can ignore, we now know that the Chaos Emeralds are objects of great power in the Sonic universe. I know sometimes it feels like they can basically do whatever is convenient for the plot at the time, but when you actually look them across games, the Sonic lore is actually pretty consistent about what powers these gemstones have. The two big points are, let's throw a list up on the screen right now. 1, Chaos Emeralds are power sources. I mean, the Chaos Emeralds are repeatedly shown to possess enough energy to power some pretty absurd super weapons like Robotnik's Eclipse Cannon. And when they're not in the hands of the villain, they can also be used by the forces of good in Gaia Temples. Speaking of Gaia Temples, point 2, they can absorb power as well as provide it. In situations where the Chaos Emeralds are drained of their energy, they can be placed on the altar of a Gaia Temple to recharge through the Earth's power. In short, Chaos Emeralds are basically like epic rechargeable batteries. Lastly, we know their color. In the first few games, the number, color, and shape of the emeralds were inconsistent between games, but from Sonic 3 onward, well, at least until Sonic Mania, they were finalized as being 7 brilliant cut gemstones colored red, green, blue, cyan, purple, yellow, and gray. And this was always the thing that bothered me as a kid. I thought emeralds were supposed to be green, but maybe I was wrong. So that starts us off with the question, what makes an emerald an emerald? Well, emeralds are classified as gemstones, and technically a gemstone is a crystal composed of a single mineral. But it just can't be any old mineral. Just like snowflakes are specifically a crystalline form of water, emeralds are specifically a crystalline form of the mineral called beryl. But there's a catch. You see, there are other gemstones besides emeralds that are also beryl crystals. For example, aquamarine is a super popular gemstone that, like an emerald, is a beryl crystal. So what makes a gemstone an emerald as opposed to aquamarine when both are formed by the same mineral? One word, color. Emeralds are green and always have to be green, getting their color from small amounts of chromium as they're being formed. So hey, good news, Pokemon taught us all one thing right. Emeralds are and will always be green. Bad news is that Sonic has been lying to us about that fact for literally decades, which means I can technically end the episode right now. At the very most, only one of the Chaos Emeralds can actually be an emerald. But hey, that's not a game theory. That's a game fact. Thanks for watching. Okay, obviously I'm not gonna end the episode after 5 minutes. Actually finding out that the Chaos Emeralds aren't really emeralds leads us to the even more interesting question of, if they're not emeralds, then what are they exactly? I mean, apart from color, they do all seem to be fairly identical. Same shape, same texture, same function in the story. It's not like Robotnik is all, I need the purple Chaos Emerald. No, they're all interchangeable. That tells me that they might belong to the same species of gemstone. Yeah, rocks have species too. Now they're minerals. Gemstones are said to be part of the same species if they're made up of the same mineral and have the same structure. For example, the crystallized form of the mineral corundum can be colored red, which is what we call a ruby, or blue, which is what we call a sapphire. They look different, but the basic building blocks are actually the same, so they're part of the same species. Just like a terrier and a golden retriever are both part of the same species, even though they're two dogs that look different. So emerald is a form of crystallized beryl that's colored green, but beryl is an entire gem species that comes in a wide variety of colors, which means that maybe the Chaos Emeralds can't all be emeralds, but they can all be beryl, putting them in the same chemical species as emeralds. To find out for sure, though, we have to go down the color list. Green is obviously emerald. Yellow is heliodor, a form of crystallized beryl with a golden color. Teal is aquamarine, which I talked about already, getting its light blue color from iron 2+ ions. Adding a few more of those iron ions turns it darker, and you get yourself a blue beryl gemstone, Maxi. Max 6. And you get yourself the blue beryl gemstone, Mashishi. Red beryl doesn't have a cool name, it's just red beryl, tinted with manganese. Fun fact though, red beryl is about 150,000 times as rare as diamond, selling for as much as $141,000 per ounce. Forget worth its weight in gold, red beryl is worth literally 100 times the same amount of gold. So, red beryl, rare but definitely possible. But here's where we start to run into problems. That darn purple emerald, which again is just an oxymoron. You see, purple varieties of beryl just don't exist. I mean, there are some forms of beryl that are technically classified as purple, like Morganite, but that clearly looks more pink and definitely not in the deep, rich shade of purple that we see in the Sonic games. There's also the teeny tiny old problem of Sonic 2 and Sonic Mania, which both feature a purple emerald and a pink emerald. And the Beryl species has no solution for that. Plus, doing more research, Beryl crystals in the real world behave nothing like the ways we see Chaos Emeralds used in the Sonic games. I mean, when was the last time you saw an aquamarine gem used to power a weapon of mass destruction? Or even a weapon of minor annoyance? Long story short, it doesn't look like Chaos Emeralds are in any way, shape, or form related to emeralds or its gemstone species. Which means we're back to the drawing board to find a gemstone species that does meet our requirements, that comes in a rainbow of 7 very specific colors, acts as a power source, and can be recharged like we see in the Sonic games. And those last 2 requirements are unusual, right? Gems that can charge my laser, be recharged themselves, seem like just a thing out of science fiction or because of video games. But in my research, I actually stumbled across a property of certain gemstones called piezoelectricity. Basically, when you squeeze or heat up the gem enough, it produces an electrical voltage. The exact way it does this is way too complicated to explain here, but suffice it to say, a crystal that produces electricity when heated or pressed on enough sounds like the exact sort of thing Robotnik would be looking for to power his Doomsday devices. This fact is actually supported in the comics. When the Sonic the Hedgehog comic revealed Sonic's origin with Dr. Robotnik, back then he was Dr. Avi Kintobar. He gets fused with a rotten egg and becomes Eggman later. That's no joke. Deep Sonic lore research gets to some really weird places. Anyway, the machine that helps make the Chaos Emeralds into what they are today is called the ROCK, or Retro Orbiter Chaos Compressor. Compressor, i.e. putting pressure on the stones to get them to spit out electricity. Cool. So with that established, only 7 naturally occurring crystal families have this piezoelectric trait about them. But one stood out, quartz, aka the most common gemstone on Earth. Hey, I mean, sometimes the answers are hiding in plain sight. Also, I know what you're gonna say, but canonically, Sonic's planet Mobius is Earth tens of thousands of years in the future. That's according to deep lore research in the comics. Like I said, the more you think about the Sonic canon, the weirder and weirder it gets. Anyway, get this. Not only can quartz create voltage through its piezoelectric properties, it also works in reverse. You can place a charge across the quartz crystal and it'll produce mechanical motion by bending or flexing. Tiny vibrations that are useful for sending information to a machine in a very precise manner. Kind of like a radio frequency. In fact, it's that exact property that led to quartz crystals being used in large numbers of different devices, like the quartz clock that was invented in 1927. Clocks that use a quartz crystal oscillator to generate a frequency so precise that these clocks are over 10 times more accurate than a traditional mechanical clock. And it doesn't stop there. Quartz crystals also have the ability to store electric charges, something that we already talked about with the Chaos Emeralds. In addition to being used as power sources, Chaos Emeralds can also absorb power. We see it happen in Sonic Unleashed. In situations where the Chaos Emeralds are drained of their power, they can be placed on the altar of a Gaia temple to recharge them through the Earth's power. Quartz shares a similar ability. It possesses a high capacitance and is commonly used in circuit boards for its ability to store a charge. This would also help explain the Master Emerald, the gemstone with the power to counter or amplify the other emeralds. The Master Emerald, being a larger gemstone, would have naturally higher capacitance, allowing it to absorb the charges of the other smaller stones, nullifying these other rocks.
It's not a rock, it's a mineral for a 10th of time.
Or transferring its own charge to a Chaos Emerald and thus amplifying its powers. So in essence, we found ourselves a gemstone that creates an electric charge, stores an electric charge, and can be recharged. All of these things just like the Chaos quote-unquote emeralds, which leaves us with one final question of color. Does quartz naturally occur in all the colors of the Chaos gems? Absolutely yes. Quartz, as a mineral species, comes in clear, yellow, red, blue, teal, pink, and purple varieties. They're all incredibly common. In an ironic twist, the rarest form of naturally occurring colored quartz crystal is praesiolite, or green quartz. The reason? Because it gets its green color from being exposed to radiation. Oh yeah! Now this doesn't necessarily mean that the Chaos Emeralds themselves are radioactive, but the fact that there are giant green quartz crystals on Angel Island seems to indicate that there might be something radioactive there. Could that potentially explain how talking hedgehogs, foxes, and echidnas suddenly sprung into existence? It would actually make sense. In the Sonic Origins comics, aliens bombard planet Earth with bombs intended to exterminate all life on the planet. The bombs melted life on Earth into a genetic ooze. According to official Sonic lore, DNA from the former human population merged with the DNA from the animal kingdom to form modern-day Mobians like Sonic and Tails. That is the official Sonic origin story, ladies and gentlemen. Yep, I sound like a broken record, but seriously, the deeper you dive into the Sonic franchise, it is a dark, dark place. So what I'm trying to say here is that it would make perfect sense that these gene bombs would leave some sort of radioactive decay that gives us not only hedgehogs that can run faster than the speed of sound, but also the green quartz Chaos Emerald to rule them all. Now, if you'll excuse me, plumbing into the depths of Sonic is giving me a headache. I need to go listen to some Christina Aguilera. But hey, that's just a theory. A game theory. Gotta rub it the right way. Want to nerd out even more about gemstones? Remember that channel I talked about earlier, JTV? It's my friend Natalie's channel. She's a professional gemologist who's done a bunch of cool videos about topics like the crystals that power the lightsabers in Star Wars, the real-world equivalent of dragon glass from Game of Thrones. She makes 2 awesome videos about gems, fossils, crystals, and meteorites every single week. Since you're a fan of game theory, I'd actually recommend her most recent video, What Are Your Minecraft Gems Actually Worth? Click on the box to the left to check that one out. It's kind of like my video on what's Minecraft diamond armor worth, but even better. And if you like what you see coming from her, then subscribe and tell her that Matt Pat sent you. Also, leave her a comment with the word flapjack in it, because that'll really confuse her fans. We'll be like, oh, we know the secret, we know the inside joke. And they'll be like, what's going on? Why is everyone talking about flapjack? And now, if you'll excuse me, I feel like I'm actually in a pool. I'm sweating so bad. I'm in the closet right now, and it's really hot in California, so I don't have air conditioning right now. It's a problem. So I'm gonna go pass out. Or towel myself off. One of the 2. See you next week! Who's the new guy? I'm pretty sure that's the Gecko. Wait, did you say Geico? No, the Gecko. Well, then why does his lane say Geico? He probably wants the people to know that with Geico, 15 minutes could save them 15% or more on car insurance. Wait, so this is some sort of sponsorship thing? Yes. He's here to let people know that Geico has been saving people money for over 85 years. You mean he came here, all the way to the Olympics, to let people know about Geico's award-winning mobile app and amazing 24/7 customer service? We are not actually at the Olympics. We're in a video. Wait, we're not at the Olympics? What video? Yes. Haven't you seen the camera? Hello, Internet! Welcome to Game Theory, the show that goes for the gold but usually winds up with a respectable bronze. Summer is upon us, the world is opening up again, and I feel like we're finally catching up on all the things that we didn't get to do last year. Going to see movies in theaters, attending live music events, and oh yeah, finally getting hyped for a... And free, and free, and free, and free, free, and free, and free, free, and free, and free, and free, and free. That's right, TurboTax Free Edition is free. See details at TurboTax.com.
You booked a sunny Verbo ski chalet with endless views of snow-covered peaks, a stove that inspires magnificent hot cocoa, and a perfect ski-in, ski-out. But the thing they'll remember forever? Grandpa coming out of retirement to give a few ski lessons. The time to plan your get-together is now.
Thanks for the ride, Sonic. Where have you been? Sonic just wanted to show me the site, so after the last episode, I thought I'd take a 2-week break and get...
2 weeks? It's been 6 months. The Olympics are over. Everyone's gone. The stands are empty.
Huh, I guess traveling at Sonic speed messed with my perception of time. Hey, the Winter Olympics are happening now, right? Hello, Internet! Welcome to Game Theory, the show that gets 10s across the board, assuming the judges grade based on effort. And while the rest of the internet is arguing about whether the next Mario Kart should be a full Nintendo crossover, we're talking about the only crossover that really matters, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. Yep, friends, we're finally gonna finish what we started off 6 months ago and figure out who's more likely to win between Mario and Sonic at the Olympics. Or at least the wacky set of forgotten Olympic events that I arbitrarily chose because, let's be honest, when it comes to the 100-meter dash, or honestly anything that involves any sort of athleticism, we all know who's gonna win. It's Sonic. I'm talking about those Olympic classic events like motorized water sports, land motorsports, solo synchronized swimming, pistol dueling, club swinging. But despite this list of wacky events, I failed to come up with a definitive conclusion for who the ultimate victor would be. They were just too evenly matched. At the end of the last episode, the final tally was 2 medals for Mario, 2 for Sonic, and 1 undecided, which means that I've gotta go deeper. I gotta find events that are even weirder to prove once and for all who is the better of the two. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our tiebreaker round. Let the games resume. Let's start off with one that I teased about last episode. One of the weirdest events that I came across while I was researching, town planning, part of the architectural design category of Olympic events. Yeah, apparently they decided it was worth creating an entire event category for architectural design. Hey, Medina High School, where was the varsity architecture team, huh? Go Team T-Square. Making this event even stranger, though, is the fact that the town planning event actually had a history of rigged judging. Yeah, in an event where you could basically design anything you wanted, every gold medalist won the town planning architecture category by submitting a design for a sports facility. Because of course they did. The jocks had to take over what Little Hope Teenage MatPat had for a varsity letter jacket. It's not my fault that show choir was never deemed to be an athletic event. I'll have you know that our choreography was very aggressive, thank you. So yeah, maybe the town planning event should have been renamed the athletic stadium design event. But questionable judging bias aside, which of our 2 competitors would fare better in this category? Well, need I remind you, friends, that Mario is a plumber by profession, meaning that he knows a thing or two about building design, at least when it comes to waste removal. But he wasn't just content to fix your house, no, he became a builder in his own right thanks to Super Mario Maker 2's story mode, where Mario helps a bunch of hapless toads build Princess Peach's castle, with Mario doing most of the work as usual. That being said, while Nintendo's level creator is certainly better known, you might be surprised to learn that Sega actually released an official Sonic the Hedgehog level creator, and it was way back in 2009, years before Mario Maker hit the scene. Yeah, this one came as a big surprise to me. It was actually released on the Play Sega website, an online service where you could play emulated Sega games, and if you happen to be a paying VIP member of the website, you could have access to various level designers, including one for Sonic games. There wasn't anything too earth-shattering about it. You were given basic tiles, the ability to add rings, springs, enemies, you know, basically Mario Maker but with Sonic stuff. In a cool feature though, every time someone played your level, you'd actually get rewarded with rings, which was the currency of the website. And likewise, if you played someone else's level, same thing, you get rings based on how well you did. So there was a real incentive for you to create and explore around the site. Sadly, not enough incentive because the whole thing was shut down 2 years later. More to our purposes though, the Sonic the Hedgehog level creator, while a cool forgotten piece of history, isn't exactly a demonstration of Sonic's architectural prowess. Not like Sonic was the one physically creating the levels, unlike the story mode from Mario Maker 2. Now, construction work and architecture work aren't exactly the same thing, but I'm still gonna have to give the town planning award to Mario. For our next event, let's turn our attention to a category that involves jumping. Not that type of jump. That type of jump. Equestrian high jump. Cause you know that when I see a large 4-hooved mammal, I'm thinking that thing has got some man-ups. You see, no equestrian events were held at the first modern Olympics in 1896. 5 were featured in 1900, including this one, as well as horse long jump. Neither one went particularly well or got a second chance. Anyway, my first impulse was that Mario would come out on top. After all, a human has got to be better at horseback riding than a prickly hedgehog, right? I mean, in all of my research, Sonic has never ridden a horse in any of his games. Not even in Sonic and the Black Knight, where people are on horseback everywhere. Seems kind of like a missed opportunity there, Sega. Clearly, this is the only reason the game got such poor reviews. But even though horses don't play a role in the games, they do show up in the comics. Let me call your attention to issue 41 of the Sonic Archie comics from 1993, where Sonic, after defeating King Acorn, takes over riding the horse before portaling back to the real world. Though, not really sure how much horse riding skills needed when the horse is just able to fly through the air like that. What about issue 140 of Sonic the Comic, published back in 1998, where on page 2 you'll notice a Hey Boomers reference. They're old and they're proud, and apparently they're reading Sonic comic books. But after being greeted, we see an Old West story where, shockingly, hedgehogs are riding horses like professional cowboys. Granted, it's Amy doing it, but I think the general lesson applies. Plus, on the next page, courtesy of Kaylee Sipple from Langdon, Essex, we see the blue blur on a horse, so it must be canon. By the way, congrats on that digital watch wing, Kaylee. So what about horses in Mario? Well, there's not many. Believe it or not, they were originally planned to be in Super Mario 64, but that was scrapped, and the horse got moved over to Ocarina of Time. And from there, horses just never really showed up. Sure, they're in Mario Sports Superstars, but dipping into the sports-based games is kind of what we're trying to avoid here. So eliminating that, the only time that we could find Mario on a horse was in a single minigame from the recent Super Mario Party. It's just a glorified rhythm game, but hey, he's there, riding a very small horse in a very straight line. Don't ask about the logistics of the Goomba riding next to him. You know what? I just gotta call this one. Sonic and friends are seen riding much more confidently. They're also much lower weight than the pasta-swirling Mario, which in a horse jumping competition is gonna matter a lot. I think we chalked this one up for the Hedgehog, tying things back up to 3-3. If you'll recall, last episode we put Mario and Sonic against each other in both water motorsports and land motorsports. So I think it only makes sense to complete the trifecta. Time to get airborne. Yep, airborne vehicles did make an Olympics appearance, but we're not talking about airplanes or helicopters. Oh no, friends. This Olympic event took place years before the Wright brothers. Back in 1900, the Summer Olympics included a ballooning event, but not hot air balloons like we understand them today. No, my friends, these were gas balloons, but not helium. They were filled with hydrogen and coal gas, which allowed them to fly higher and further than normal hot air balloons, but at the expense of being highly combustible floating bombs. Kinda makes you wonder if a gold medal is really worth it at that point. Anyway, they would face off in a range of challenges, including how far they could travel, how long they could fly, how high they could go, how close they could fly to a target, things like that. Now, Mario is no stranger to balloons of all shapes and sizes. He controls them, he takes romantic rides with Peach in them, and the Mario Party series is full of games where Mario attaches balloons to his body so he can hover in the air, skydive out of literal planes, even use them to send his loved ones into deadly free falls. Look at how happy he is after doing this. Dude has got something wrong with him. Wait, and when it comes to precision flying, we have minigames like this where Mario pilots a balloon-based vehicle to avoid oncoming cannon fire from his friends. When it comes to balloons, Mario is tough to beat. Sonic, though, is also a balloon expert. Probably the most notable appearance is in Sonic Lost World, a game that, much like the Wii U platform it was released on, is mostly forgotten at this point. This game was good. Basically Sonic's version of Mario Galaxy. The most notable thing about it was that it had some of the coolest crossover levels ever as Sonic ran through both Yoshi's Island and Legend of Zelda-themed levels. Yeah, that is Sonic homing, attacking a Stalfos, and collecting rupees instead of rings. Super cool stuff there. Anyway, in the game, there are these remote-controlled vehicles that are created by Tails. In order to make them, you had to collect materials from the Nintendo 3DS version of Sonic Lost World, then build them, then transfer your creation to the Wii U version of the game. It was a dumb system, but it allowed the player to craft remote-controlled balloon vehicles that could then fly around the levels. Vehicles that also had to be very precise in their controls in order to fly around the various obstacles. Looking at both competitors' experience here, I think we have to give the win to Mario. He's better with a wider variety of balloons, he knows enough about them to leap out of a plane using a balloon as a parachute, and, unlike Sonic, his balloons don't seem to be remote-controlled by an off-screen player too, which seems like something that might be disqualified by the judges. Just be careful of those fireballs, Mario.